Welcome to another episode of the Being in Business show, where we bring on entrepreneurs from all different backgrounds and we learn what it really takes to be in business for yourself and the lessons that we learn along the way. Today, I have a very special guest for you, Donald Murphy, Dr. Purpose, also known as Dr. Purpose. Donald, thank you so much for being here. How are you today?
I am great. I am so excited to be here, Alina. Whenever you tell me I need to be somewhere, I'm there. Okay, I'm there.
Awesome. I
I'm
love
there.
your attitude.
I appreciate what you're doing. I've actually seen within the last year, perhaps a year and a half, you grow leaps and bounds with the different business ventures that you've done about three different things
Yeah.
over the last year or so. And so I'm really excited. And I'm more excited about just this move you've done, you and Dan.
Yeah.
Just, just the process of the vision board and manifesting and in this house, this amazing house coming about. And I love it. I love your story. You're creating as we speak. I love it. And so I'm probably your biggest cheerleader in
Yeah.
all that you do. So
Thank
dang,
you,
it is
Donald.
a pleasure to be connected with you.
Right back at you.
Mm.
I received that. Thank you. Yeah. Well, let's introduce you yet again, because the first time we did this, we were on Instagram Live, which is typically where you find the show. But today we had some internet troubles, so we are recording this on Zoom, and I'll be uploading it to Instagram TV. So let's do a little introduction for Donald Murphy, Dr. Purpose. So Dr.
Yes.
Purpose is a caring businessman who, after facing trials and tribulations as a youngster, thoroughly understands the dilemma that our minority men and women currently face when no one is there to speak up on their behalf. He is the owner of Project Purpose International Association nonprofit, and it's a global initiative collaboration with partner communities around the world to assist our youth in realizing their gifts and talents, to transform their thinking, to ensure development of life purpose. The Purpose Project started in 2014 as a way to test and introduce purpose as a solution to many of the challenges facing our youth. With several years owning and managing small businesses and having a strong community advocacy ethic, Dr. Purpose has numerous awards in the food and beverage industry, including Manager of the Year, Panda Express High Achiever 2 years in a row, Guest Customer Service recognition, Millionaires Club inductee exceeding sales over 1 million, that's from Spring Hill Suites by, wait, which one was that?
By Marriott.
That's awesome, by Marriott. Yeah, Exceptional Service Award and Random Acts of Kindness Award recipient, and much more. Dr. Purpose credits his success secret to helping others find their life purpose. As a former managing partner of a restaurant, Dr. Purpose recognizes the need for teaching our youth responsibility, job training, business skills, serving others, the meaning of customer service, and finding your unique life purpose.
Yes, all that and above.
That's
you know,
amazing.
as you say that, I remember, my going through the food industry, and I would get contacted from other managers. I had a few stores. I was an area manager, and these managers would call me from all over the country, and they say, "What are you doing? Like your sales is, you're beating everybody. What are you doing?" And I say, my employees, I praise them, I work with them, I love on them, and they perform and they intend, they love, and they praise the customers. It trickles down, and they say, no, but no, really, what are you doing? What sales you running? I'm running the exact sale that you running. You run a 2-item combo, I'm running a 2-item combo special, right? They say, but what's the secret? What are you doing? But Alina, that secret really was what I've come to find out was purpose, right? I was finding the people that I worked with over the years, I started to hone in, like, what's your thing, right? Like, I try to figure out what that thing, and then put you in the best position to make you perform. So, all those rewards, they came from that type of mindset of thinking. So, yeah,
Yeah,
thanks for sharing that introduction.
absolutely. And that's how, I mean, when I first met you, let's go back to our story that we were sharing 10 minutes ago. That when we first met, when we first got to talking, like you told me your story, and I was blown away. Like, first of all, I mean, it's so different from mine, right? Like it was incredibly refreshing to hear another story and opinion. But like, that's how you're here today, right? Because someone kind of, took you and was like, what do you like? What lights you up? What do you want to do? So I'd love to hear a little bit more about that. Like, tell us your story and like how you were able to be where you are today.
Whew, when you sent that question over, I was like, good Lord. To get where I'm at today, to be honest, it's been really hard to be honest, to be really, I don't want to paint this picture, because sometimes a lot of individuals that are in success positions, they tend to not really share really the process. If there is, they may hold back. I don't know, but they'll say, I just follow my dreams, and all of a sudden I was making 50,000 a month. You're like, oh, really? And so, really, and so when all of a sudden when you try this, and it doesn't happen, right? You're like, what the heck? It can't be that easy. So for me, it has been really challenging, because I've learned over probably the last 10 years of my life, I've been learning to appreciate the journey, right? I've been able to embrace the process, and I've just come to love it now, because it's been over 26 years for me in my process of really honing in on these skills and business skills to be successful. My day started in 1995. Actually, I was 20 years old, and a friend of mine introduced me in 1995 to the industry of network marketing, or MLM, as some people may know it. And there's a lot of negative connotation behind the name network marketing and MLM. A lot of people question its legitimacy. But listen here, to understand the negative, you have to first understand why it's been portrayed to be negative, right? To be negative. And understand first and foremost that our governing system in place has a one size fits all system, that over 7 billion people on the planet, they run this one size fits all system to all these people. And unfortunately, I'm one of these people that I just don't fit in that system, right? And I believe you are one of those people that don't fit in that system as well. And so so if there's over 7 billion people on the planet, that through the government has these laws, these rules, and they expect us to follow this model, right? And you don't have any say so, Alina. You don't have any say so. You're just kind of thrown into this system that it works for some people, and for others it don't. And I just was one of those people that it never resonated with me. Kind of this: go to school, go to college, get a degree, go work for someone else, make their dreams and their purpose in life fruitful and love. They're taking trips and having a blast while you slaving, while you working 9 to 5, grinding and pain, hurting, right? But go get that degree, go to work for 65 years of your life, then retire at 65, dead, broke, busted, and disgusted, right? I wasn't trying to see that, Alina. I'm like, this can't be what life is all about, right? And so I don't know about you. I just got to the point where it just never worked for me. And so when I was introduced to network marketing, it changed my life, and simply because of this. My friend, when he approached me about it, he was so excited. It was like some water filtration system. You connected to your water and it gave you good. Man, it was exciting, right? I was like, man, we getting great water, right? But what they introduced us to was personal development. It changed my life. It changed my life. And I don't think I ever did one thing with that company. I think what I was most impressed is with the culture and this personal development, which I began to work on myself, right? I began to work on myself and had all the support of everybody, of like-minded people in the room. It was life-changing, right? And that let me know, Alina, that the system in itself, the way that they would make network marketing or MLM negative, is because they have to protect the system, right? They have to, if everybody's jumping ship and starting businesses and leaving what they built, and you're leaving these jobs that they want you to work for, right? If everyone in their mind, if everyone's leaving, then they don't have anything in their system, right? And so I see why they would put that false information out there to make people scared to want to go and work on something outside of the process. And so what I believe what network marketing did for me at that time, it was another alternative, right? It was another alternative to the standard system of kind of the 9 to 5 and those things. And not saying anything's wrong with that. It works for some, and for others it doesn't work. Interesting. Let me read you a definition of personal development. Personal development is a way to better understand yourself, your unique personality and potentials, your strengths and weaknesses, your aspirations, and your talents. It is a way to improve every aspect of your life. It is a way to realize so many different possibilities and to achieve more than you thought was possible. Listen to that definition, right? Do you understand why I was so excited? This changed my life, Alina, because up until that point, I was in so much pain, mentally, spiritually, and physically. Okay, I was 20 years old. I was on the verge of either being killed in the streets, put in prison, or just being, a drug addict or something battling with drugs and alcohol and some. It was a very uncertain time for me, and at that point, I mean, it was killing me, right? And so I was involved, kind of teeter-tatting still. I was involved with gangs, with gang life, with the Bloods in St. Louis, Missouri, and it ran its course, right? I mean, the celebrity type lifestyle and partying and fighting and drugs and guns and guns and roses and I mean it just ran its course, right? It was at the end. I mean, everything was falling apart. I had friends getting killed. Alina, friends were getting killed, people were getting thrown in jail, some doing life sentences. I mean, this was horrible. Wow. Right?
I have a question for you really quick.
Sure.
And you don't have to answer if you don't want to, but like, what do you see as like the spiritual significance of like your soul choosing that circumstance now that you reflect?
You know, now from the spiritual level and the personal development, I really understand, like I said in the beginning, it was real hard for me because I had to delete so many programs in my mind. I had to delete. It was like a computer system was like deleting programs and then uploading new programs, right? I had to really work on my mindset and change that mindset and those behaviors. And I think on a spiritual level, as I begin to work on myself, and as I call now, know thyself, to go within, I begin to really see that a lot of the pain and a lot of things that were bad during that time actually prepared me for the work that I do now, right? So for many years, I had really ran from the past, but I think now I've embraced it and I can confront it and really look at it and heal, and actually heal from those pains, because now I have a heart for helping teenagers. You know, my nonprofit organization, Project Purpose, I created it because of my experience during my teenage life, right? And those challenges of just uncertainty, feeling, alone and just no self-love, just all this self-hate and just, all this, just trauma and these different things. But now I realize it gave me mastery in those skills that now I can give back and work with a teen. At one time I considered suicide, right? Like a suicide. And so the program, I've made a goal that no teen, to help teens to not even think about suicide, right? And so I think the transformation for me on this, to go through all that, helped prepared me now to serve in my community in a way to and while in Colorado. Now you moved out of Colorado, but do you know that this state is one of the highest states for teen suicide, right? And so I said, you know what? I'm making a commitment and I want to lower those numbers. I want to lower those percentages. And that I wouldn't be able to have done that, Alina, if I wouldn't went through what I went through,
Damn. That's pretty deep.
Yes. The personal development, I mean, anyone that's really looking, that's listening in, I would, to me, for anybody, and it don't have to be for business, it could just be, for your personal life, to just really delete old programming. It just really helped me to challenge my belief system. What do you believe? And when you challenge it, where did you get those beliefs from? Was it your parents? Was it some caretaker, pastor, neighbor? Who distilled those beliefs in your mind? And I had to start taking inventory of my life and started saying, okay, why do I feel this way when somebody says something, or why do I get mad, or why I do the things? And there was certain belief systems that I said, wait a minute, I don't own that. It doesn't feel right. It's not truly who I am. Mm-hmm. And the personal development began to allow me to see myself at a different level, at a different level. And I started to begin to say, wait a minute, I'm actually a really good guy. You know,
What
really
would you
actually.
say is like one of the first things you did in your personal development journey? Like, how did it? I know that you introduced it through MLM, but like, what was one of the first things you did that you were like, "Whoa!" If you can remember that far, anyway, it's been a while.
You know, I think the first time, and you're familiar with the industry, it's when you're in those settings and everybody is just so excited about the ideal of freedom, right? Like freedom, and you're getting your time back and being able to perhaps travel and live your dreams. I believe all of us have these dreams that you're excited about them, and then over the years they begin to just take a back seat, right? They begin to take a back seat, and you just get beat up, in your life and knocked down so much, you just kind of forget the dreams. But I believe network marketing had allowed me to it hit that dream button. I'm like, wow, this
Mm,
could be possible. And
what's
when I
possible?
first when I first saw it, I mean, I'm seeing guys 20 years old, 24 years old walking across the stage, receiving awards and $20,000 bonus checks and 50,000. I said, man, I make 40,000 a year as a manager. This guy just made it in 1 month, and he's 24. Right? I was like, wait a minute, this is crazy. And so I think that was the first time it allowed me to really expand my my thoughts, and really these dreams that I had as a kid and my early teens. I started to be able to dream again, right? I said, man, this is possible. I don't have to really go down this path that I was going down. And so and I think it also introduced me to the ideal of like mentorship and those things. Um, my first boss at a restaurant, my very first job, I credit the program I've created for teens now, and other bosses that I've worked with over the years. But my first boss poured into my life, literally saving my life, really from the streets, because I had begun reading these books and stuff, the personal development. I was attracted to that culture. It was really, but I still was teetering kind of with kind of the old crowd that I was hanging around. But my first boss that gave me a job, he 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 just began to speak into me. He said, Donald, this is your thing. And I said, my thing? What? He said, man, the way you handle these customers and the way that you talk, and I mean, every customer, you create an experience and they love it. And I was like, oh, really? Really? Like, I was like, what? He was saying, man, I've never, this is your thing. And I was like, what is he never told me what I equate that now, and your thing is being like what's purposeful or passion
Yeah.
for you, right? Like your passion. And I was passionate about food. I was passionate about service. And then when I got on the grill and cooked, he said, man, I dude, who are you? He said, and Alina, when I would take these customers, you would be, no one does this today. No one in no restaurant does this. I mean, the way I would do it and have the customer have the experience, they would just be wow. They would come back, they say, man, that was the best sandwich I ever had. I say, really? I say, man, it was just cheese and onions and cheese steaks, right? I mean, and they were like, oh my gosh, that was a great sandwich, Thank you so much. We really appreciate your hospitality, and oh my gosh, this is great. And I was like, wow. And so, but he later let me know that was a gift, right? That was passion. And so he spoke into me and encouraged me. and just guided me. And you know what? That did something for me to really help me, uh, I think, to move into myself, right? To understand, like, man, I actually got something that people enjoy, right? People love. And I later left there and went to some other companies, but I had another boss the same way who became this mentor to me, and he began putting me in leadership classes and customer service and management classes. He really helped to hone in on my skills and help to develop me. And he started taking me around his friends. And now guess what? All his friends was business owners, right? So I sort of replaced my friends, my teenage, the friends I were hanging around getting in trouble with. And now I got these friends that they're all business owners, right? So I'm sitting at barbecues and stuff, and I'm just soaking it in, Alina. I'm just listening, and they're talking about the New York Stock Exchange and stocks and business acquisitions and stuff. I'm like, wow, I'm sitting there, I'm like, dude, this is amazing, right? And they're talking to me just like, one of the fellas. And I was, it blew me away that this was happening to me, because where I was coming from. And so later, this same boss kind of knew I had one foot still out in the streets, right? So one day he asked me, I was about to get off of work, and he said, and this quote, he never told me the guy, but I learned later the quote comes from one of the motivational speakers. His name is Jim Rohn.
Oh yeah.
Jim Rohn, one of the, your listeners, you gotta Google this guy, Jim Rohn. But this quote I use today in my training, Jim Rohn said, "You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." Woo! It blew me away. And he asked me, Alina, he said, Donald, he said, when you leave here, I'm curious, what do you do? Like, who do you hang with? Who you spend time with? And I said, I ain't never asked that. I just said, excuse me? And he questioned that because he knew I wasn't giving it my all. Because he said, you got a lot of potential, but I feel like your head is not. So who do you spend time with? And I just said, I never answered the question because I didn't want to tell him I was hanging with drug dealers and gangsters and, a lot of, what I'm talking about. So I said, I just sat there. He was like, it's really important who you spend time with. You really got an opportunity here that I think that you can go, very far. And I was like, and I went home that day and I cried. I cried because I was like, man, I gotta, and that next day I came and I really took the horns of the opportunity, and I haven't looked back since. I really credit a lot of my success and really getting my mindset and really helping me to delete those old programs and stuff, which really set me up later where I ended up opening my own catering business. My wife and I owned a restaurant here in Colorado, at one point where we had partnered with someone that owns a Philly cheesesteak restaurant, ironically. But, I look and I have, other businesses that I own as well. But at that time, those things would have never been in my mindset if I wasn't hanging with the boss that introduced me to his friends they all had businesses and restaurants and stuff like that. So that quote really hit me really hard, that you are of the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. And so once I changed my atmosphere and my environment and the people that I was associating with, I picked up the skills that they did. They were business owners. Guess what? I became a business owner, right? And so that really started helping me to really develop the mindset as a small business owner, as an entrepreneur.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Hell
Look at
yeah.
you. Yeah.
So learning how, like, firstly, I guess, like, changing up your environment, having a mentor, or having someone come into your life that actually cares enough to, do more than just like train you how to, press the register key, and
Right.
like
Right.
encouraging you to start dreaming and expanding your mind, and you starting to meet these people, like you're manifesting these people coming into your life. And I just want to like commend you on saying yes to those opportunities, because you also could have said no. So
Mm.
like, even though they helped you a lot, you also were a big factor in why, you chose to be around them as well. So hell yeah. um
Yes. 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 You know, this the secret. You remember that video that came out, The Secret?
yeah, I still have never seen it. Don't
You might
judge.
know. I think you're
Don't
the only
judge.
person. I think you're the only person on the planet who haven't seen that CD.
But I know
But
what the secret is, so it's fine.
right, right. But that was really transforming as well, because I think once I got introduced to that, that really opened my mind to this understanding that, and those that may not understand that, it just comes under the principle of like attracts like, right? And whether you know it or not, we are attracting whatever we are attracting in our lives, whether we realize it or not. We are attracting it, whether it's negative or bad, right? And what I realized after watching that DVD at the time was that we are creators. That what makes us, makes us amazing as human beings, that we have that ability to create, and makes us different from many other animals and stuff on the planet, right? Is this imagination and creation, right? And what I realize is that we're always creating. We're always creating, right? Every day you're creating.
Yeah.
And the challenge is, what I realize most of the time, it's negative, because a lot of the system and a lot of things that are in place only allows you that you're not put in a position to create and manifest the positive things in your life. So it's, your mind is stuck on fear and negativity. So
Yeah.
guess what? If you focus on that and you put a lot of passion and emotion behind it, guess what? You're going to attract more negativity. And so that was a game changer for me. And on top of the personal development, and continue to read the books, and to continue to surround myself with positive people, that really began to help me to shape and start going down that rabbit hole, to understand thoughts, and really monitoring my thoughts, and really becoming in charge of what I want to see in my life, right? Being intentional. Waking up each morning, being intentional with what I want to have in my life. And this is stuff that's mind blowing, right? Because I never would have thought that myself, or even you, Alina, could take in charge of your life, and attract what you want to attract in your life, the experiences, the people, the opportunities that you want in your life. Like, we have the control and the capacity to do this. No wonder the system keeps you in,
Oh yeah.
in that system, right? I mean, the hell, I'll be all over you too. You trying to escape trying to escape the system, right? And so it's just, that was an eye opener for me. And I think the second biggest eye opener for me was Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Mm.
That, I mean, for the listeners, Robert Kiyosaki talks about the Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and he talks about this cash flow quadrant, right? And it's a plus sign. If you imagine a plus in the upper left-hand corner, he has a E, which stands for employee. And he talks about the employee mindset and the employees and is working a job. They have a job. And below that quadrant, he has S, that stands for self-employed. And he talks about that and the positives and some of the negatives about that, and saying that, yeah, if you're self-employed, it's good, but say you're a construction worker and you hurt your hands or whatever, would you still be able to work? Right there, that went your income, right? But what more importantly, what he educates you on the right side of that quadrant is B, stands for business, and he talks about the processes and the systems and people working for you, right? And so I was like, man, I'm like over here in this E part. I need to get to the B, right? I need to really become a business owner. And he talks about, getting in, position yourself as a business owner, getting the processes and systems in place, having employees, and growing this, growing a big business. The next step, more importantly, in the lower quadrant on the right, is I, and I stands for investor. And he talks about some of the biggest money is made in investing, like real estate investment and properties or the stock exchange, and just investing. I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta get in the B and the I, the quadrant. And so I followed that his books for many years, and really, and just getting that mindset that he talks about. His poor dad just kind of talked to him more or less kind of on the employee side, but his best friend, his dad, was very successful, rich, and he started hanging with his best friend's father and asking him, hey, can you mentor me? And that's what his best friend's father, the rich dad, really shared those principles with him, the B and the I, the business and investor. And those things really helped me. I think the journey of building for an entrepreneur or a business owner, it really comes down to mindset, because for a lot of us, this information is not being taught. It's not taught in colleges. It's not taught in school. And for a reason, it's not taught. Okay.
Well, and that's the whole premise of the show, right? Is like, we are taught so much of that masculine energy of like do, right? So the way you build a business is you create a plan, you have a product to sell, you have someone to sell it to, you have a pay link or whatever it is, and then you just do. So you just show up and you're like, hello, I'm Alina and I have a widget to sell you. Would you like to buy it? And then all of a sudden no one buys it and you're like, now what? Now what? And then, you start to dig into this stuff and you unravel like, oh, like, I think I have a block around receiving, or I think I have, I don't actually think I'm worth even selling this widget. Or then you're like, what the hell is this? Like, where was this class? Did I miss this class?
Right. I think and that's what the journey is all about. It's I tell a lot of people who are considering entrepreneurship, going into business, and I just say, look, you gotta really develop the mindset and really work, because there's so much programming that is done to keep you kind of in those processes. And again, a lot of people excel in that model. Some people are go from the bottom to the top of these corporate companies and doing well. Some people really, and again, that system didn't. So I don't want to knock that system. It didn't work. It just didn't work for me. And like I said, it's 7 billion people on the planet. There's no way there's a one size fit all model that's going to work for all these individuals. So So the first thing is just you have to really get your mindset right to kind of get in position to understand, because there's going to be times when it's hard. Like when my first time selling those widgets and people were like, no, I don't want it. I was done, right? Nobody likes me. Nobody,
This
I
means
had
I'm
to,
not cut out for this. Love
right?
that.
I was like, and Alina, look here. And to the listeners out there, listen to this. This is I had to learn this, and a mentor showed me this, because I took it so personal when people told me no.
Mm.
uh, it shattered everything for me, and I was like, I don't want to go back out there. I don't want to do it again. But what I think the process of building this up and you learning, um, you learn to get over it. You fell down, you get back up, you try it again, and you work on a mental muscle that you start to develop this muscle, and then you start to put in things in place that allow you to go out and perform. And that's why it's really huge to find passion and to find purpose in life, because it drives you. It wakes, you wake up motivated, right? They say a large percentage of people die on Monday morning, right?
What?
I forget the percent. There's a large percentage of the population every Monday. There's a large percentage of people who just die.
What?
They have a good time Saturday and Sunday, then Monday come, they dread and they hate to go to work. I think the numbers are somewhere around in the 70 something percent of the population dread going to work, right? And so, you know, you and so if that's the case, they have heart attacks and people die on Monday morning. It's one of the biggest days, right? And so, but if you find your passion, if you find that what lights you up, if you find, like my boss said, this is your thing. This is your thing, Donald. If you find that, it wakes you up, it drives you up. So if you go to try to sell that widget and somebody tells you no, you say, okay, thanks. Sir, how you doing? Sir, ma'am, can I just get a few minutes of your time so I can share with you what I'm doing? Right? Because you excited, it's passion, you love what you see. I wake up every morning and I know for a fact it's somebody that I can introduce the ideal of purpose to. That I can say you were created for something special, right? And over the years, Alina, I think I took all the bumps and bruises and everything I learned, and I created a 5-step healing process. Get this, called the Dr. Purpose Method.
Love it.
Yes. I took all that, everything I just talked about, all the pain, all the problems, and over the years, I had to heal from those pains. I had to heal for the trauma, and I developed the system, and so the traumas and the success and the things that I began to have during COVID, right? During COVID, man, people think, man, look, COVID was a blessing, right? I'm telling you, I don't think I've had more ideas and more inventions come out of this time than this time here, right? But I had the time to really sit down and take all my content, curriculum, a lot of stuff that I developed, and really start to hone it in. You know, I had a coach I was working with, and they said, look, you already got this and you got that. Let's put this together and do this. So it was a way, I took inventory. I went within me. Hey, we can't go nowhere, right? You had to stay in home. You had to stay home anyway, right? And so I took the time. I went within. I got to know thyself even more. I had been on this journey of personal development. But what came out was this 5-step healing process called the Dr. Purpose Method.
Hello. If you are watching this, you have reached the end of part one of my interview with Donald Murphy, Dr. Purpose. I had to split it up for Instagram TV to be able to accommodate. So if you want to check out Dr. Purpose's 5-step healing method, be sure to check out part two in my other videos. Thanks.